Ever feel like you just need to add a bit of interactivity to a web page?
Yeah, like without pulling in a giant framework.
Exactly. You want something dynamic, but the thought of setting up this huge dev environment just makes you, well, tired.
Uh-huh. I know that feeling.
Okay, so let's dig into this because today we're really focusing on a tool that seems designed for exactly that situation, Xuda Slim.
Right.
We've got some info here that really unpacks what makes this lightweight runtime tick, especially for developers who just want speed and, simplicity.
Yeah, simplicity is key sometimes.
So our mission really is to get a solid handle on what Xuda Slim actually is and how it lets you build efficient web apps without all the usual sort of baggage.
And it's interesting because the sources we have, they really paint a picture of this contrast. There's the full Xuda platform, and then there's this slim version.
Okay, maybe we should briefly touch on the full platform first, just for context,
Yeah.
before we dive deep into Slim.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the full Xuda platform, it's presented as this pretty state-of-the-art system for both building and deploying applications.
State-of-the-art how? What are the core bits?
Well, the sources highlight things like advanced orchestration tools and, importantly, a dynamic marketplace.
A marketplace. Like an app store for developers within Xuda.
Kinda, yeah. You can grab pre-built apps, different tools, plugins, basically stuff to accelerate development or add functionality.
Yeah.
And developers can also sell their own creations there.
Ah, okay, so it builds an ecosystem. What about deploying things?
It seems quite comprehensive. They talk about user group deployments like think password-protected apps,
Right.
progressive web apps, PWAs, for that seamless web mobile feel, public web pages, obviously, and even support for building and managing native iOS and Android apps. It covers a lot of ground.
Wow, okay. That is comprehensive. And hosting, do they handle that too?
They do. Flexible, scalable hosting. It sounds like they have a global network of data centers, low latency, security, scalability, all that jazz.
So from small projects up to big enterprise needs.
Apparently so. They mention uptime and support, and even an enterprise offering like a branded version you can run entirely on your own local network.
Oh, for really strict security or control requirement.
Exactly. Full control, offline operation if needed. So the full platform is positioned as, powerful, flexible, robust ecosystem online or offline.
Okay, got it. Powerful, but maybe more than you need sometimes. Which brings us to Xuda Slim.
Precisely. And that's where Xuda Sling comes in. It's introduced as a lightweight, almost minified version of the Xuda runtime system.
Lightweight how? What's the analogy here?
The sources kind of draw a parallel to something like Alpine.js. You familiar with Alpine?
Yeah, it lets you sprinkle JavaScript behavior directly into your HTML, very minimal footprint.
Exactly that idea. Simplicity and efficiency for web applications. Xuda Slim seems aimed at that same sweet spot, bridging the gap between just plain vanilla JavaScript and maybe the more complex, heavier frameworks.
Okay, I like that. Bridging the gap. So what are the key features of Slim specifically?
Well, number one is what we've been saying. Lightweight and efficient. It's optimized for minimal resource usage.
Meaning it's good for...
Small projects, prototypes, performance-critical situations. Anywhere you want interactivity without a big overhead, you can make interactive web apps without, slowing everything down.
And performance is always critical, right?
Pretty much. Another big point is access. It seems really easy to get hold of.
How so?
It's available via NPM or a CDN. For web devs, that's super familiar, super easy.
Right. NPM install or just a script tag. Quick setup.
Exactly. Reduces that initial friction, lets you get going fast.
Okay, now here's something that really caught my eye in the notes. Independence. It says, Xuda Slim can operate without being tied to the main Xuda platform infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction. You get autonomy. You can use it in whatever development environment or hosting setup you like. You're not locked in.
Hold on. So I could build something with Xuda Slim, just a web app, and deploy it on, say, Netlify or Vercel or my own server, completely separate from anything else at Xuda.
That appears to be the case, yes. It offers that freedom.
That's actually really appealing. A lot of flexibility there.
It is. But here's the clever part, I think. If you do decide later that you need more power, more features.
Like the stuff from the full platform we talked about.
Right. There's apparently a seamless upgrade path. Apps built with Xuda Slim can be moved over to the full Xuda runtime.
Without rebuilding everything from scratch.
That's the claim. No rebuild needed. It addresses that worry, What if my little project takes off and needs more? You're not stuck.
That's smart design. Start lean, but keep the door open for expansion. It avoids painting yourself into a corner.
Exactly. Start simple, scale easily. That seems to be the philosophy.
Now, what about that one-click deployment thing? The sources mentioned that too.
Ah, yes. So even though Slim can be independent, If you want to use Xuda's infrastructure, maybe for their managed VPS, the scalability, the global data centers,
The benefits of the full platform's hosting.
right, then deploying a Xuda Slim app onto that infrastructure is apparently very straightforward, like one click.
So it offers a convenient path if you want it, but doesn't force you down it.
Precisely. It's about providing choices. Lean and independent for web stuff, but with easy integration and deployment options within the broader Xuda world if and when you need it.
Okay, so connecting the dots here. Xuda offers this whole spectrum. You've got the big, powerful platform with all the bells and whistles.
Marketplace, orchestration, native apps, enterprise options.
And then you've got Xuda Slim, which is laser-focused on being a lightweight, efficient runtime just for web applications. Simple, fast, independent.
But with that bridge back to the main platform if your project grows.
It really feels like Slim is about enabling developers to just get stuff done quickly on the web without getting bogged down. Focus on the app, not the tooling overhead.
Yeah, it acknowledges that not every web task needs a battleship, you know? Sometimes a speedboat is exactly what you need. Fast, nimble, gets you where you need to go for that specific job.
Like adding dynamic bits to a landing page or building a quick interactive tool.
Perfect examples. Scenarios where pulling in React or Vue might feel like overkill, but vanilla JS feels a bit too manual. Xuda Slim aims for that middle ground.
Okay, so let's summarize this deep dive. We've mainly zoomed in on Xuda Slim today.
Right.
We've seen it's this lightweight, efficient runtime specifically tailored for web development. It offers simplicity, speed, and importantly, independence from the main Xuda platform.
But it crucially keeps that upgrade path open so you're not limiting your future options if a project evolves.
Exactly. Start lean, stay flexible.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. If you do any web development, how could a tool like Xuda Slim fit into your workflow? Could that kind of lightweight approach, that focus on simplicity and performance, actually change how you build certain types of projects?
Does it open up possibilities for things you maybe shied away from because the setup seemed too complex?
Yeah.
What could you build with that kind of focused efficiency?
It's definitely worth pondering, and maybe, like we mentioned, taking a look at tools like Alpine.js helps frame this philosophy too.
Yeah, understanding that whole category of lightweight sprinkle-on interactivity tools gives you perspective. It's
Yeah.
about having the right tool for the job, isn't it?
Absolutely. And for many web-centric tasks, Xuda Slim positions itself as a really compelling candidate for being that right tool.